And we are live here officially at the makeshift studio that I'm developing here. And I'm just excited to be back here with another writing sprint, another series of little mini writing sprints that I'm going to be doing here today. And it's a good time to do this particular one. I have three set up for this weekend, just as a reminder for those of you who are kind of new to this and what I typically do. So I usually do two on Saturday, this morning one that I'm doing right now, and I'll do one later, early evening, late afternoon, whatever you want to describe it, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And that one will be kind of interesting because depending on how much progress I make during this sprint and between this morning sprint and the late afternoon sprint, I might be done with the novel that I'm working on, at least the first draft of it. So that could end up being really exciting if I'm able to get as much progress as I'm hoping for right now. I am going to give you a word count of where I'm at right now. This, for those of you unfamiliar, this is a novel that I started during National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo. And by the way, I do have a little show and tell. This is my official NaNoWriMo winner t-shirt that I did purchase because I thought it would be really cool. I haven't had a chance to open it yet, obviously, but I did end up picking up the official NaNoWriMo winner t-shirt. I ended up with, I think during NaNoWriMo, I ended up with about 60,000 words, a little over 60,000 words to finish the month. And so I decided to treat myself to the official NaNoWriMo winner t-shirt. So pretty excited about that. Getting this, I'm going to probably get a photo with me with this shirt on at some point today. So just wanted to let you guys know that I do have this shirt. So it's pretty cool. And your boy is really excited about that. So anyway, that's that. The project that I started during NaNoWriMo is an opportunity to do a little bit of a different type of novel than I typically do. And so I started this novel, which is like part sibling rivalry, part discovery that you do have a sibling to some extent, and then a murder mystery type of aspect, even though it's not technically a murder, that I am working on right now. And then you got some family betrayals and you got a hostage situation. So there's a lot going on in this particular story that I'm really excited about finishing. So I'm knocking on the door of about 70,000 words. Let's see. We got a comment here. Lily Flynn. It's so cute. I love it. I've seen it before and it's super cute. It is a cool shirt. And, it's my first year doing it. So I was really excited to do it. And so, sometimes when you have that just excitement that you can't tamp down at all, you just decide, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and let it flow. And so I ended up going ahead and grabbing that particular shirt and just it'll be a nice little keepsake for me. So that's what that is all about. With this project, I am going to let you know that I'm right at the end. And so the ending of the story is one that I kicked around for quite a while. And just so as you guys are aware, I'm going to tell you that let me count the number of potential endings that I had for this story. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 5 possible endings for this story that I was working on. And as I was getting toward the end and I was in the third act, and those of you who've been following, that I like to use the 3-act format in terms of writing structure. And so as I was into the second act, I was through the second act, I should say, early in the third act, I kind of had this epiphany, like of how I wanted to, a different direction that I wanted to go with the story. I didn't want it to be too cliche. I wanted it to be something that was going to be just a little bit more different. I mean, lots of what we do as writers, most of it has been done before in one way or another. It might take a different shape or something, or it might have a slightly different twist, but most of it has been done before. And so I was trying to come up with something a little bit different. And so I decided to put multiple spins on the end of this story. And so I think that I've got a pretty good ending for this story. And I had to go back and make a few adjustments. Sometimes when you change the ending and you're deep into your story, then you got to go back and kind of tweak a couple things that you said earlier when you had a different ending in mind. And so that's what I ended up doing. So that was definitely an exciting opportunity for me. I'm sorry you didn't win, but it's one of those things that there's a lot of things going on. Like, I have a lot on my plate. It just so I ended up dropping. I usually work on multiple stories at one time, and so because I usually work on multiple stories at one time, I'm usually spread pretty thin, and I don't end up necessarily being able to devote so much attention. In this case, I decided to pretty much drop everything else that I was doing, and I really limited my reading. So if you go to my channel and you look at the usual amount of books that I read, it was probably a little bit less in the month of November because I focused more on this writing project. But you got a lot of words in, which is really good. How many words did you get in? Thank you. I appreciate those kind words. It was a lot of fun to do. It really was. And I had heard about it for years, but I'd never actually participated in it. So the opportunity to actually participate in it was pretty cool. And I could see a lot of excitement. NaNoWriMo is a really good community of people, writers that come together and kind of support each other. And so I think that was one of the cool things that I really enjoyed about it, is having an opportunity to meet some new people through NaNoWriMo, which was really cool, and to engage with some people. And that's what the BookTube and AuthorTube communities on YouTube, they lend themselves to that. The communities have been really good. And, I've been doing it for a little over a year. So I'm still a relatively small booktuber, author-tuber, but, trying to climb the charts here a little bit as we go along. Let's see here. You got in 45,000. So you were pretty close. You were knocking right on the door of 50,000. And, Thanksgiving also was a challenge for a lot of people because it's obviously a big holiday month with Thanksgiving, and I don't know, Black Friday is almost like a holiday to a lot of people. And so it's typically a lot of family time, but then again with COVID, it's been different than what we're normally accustomed to. So 45,000 words is really good. One of the things that you have to focus on also is just quality over quantity. And if you got a solid 45,000 words, that's better than 50,000, 5,000 more words just for the sake of having words. So I think you're on a good track. 45,000 words. I mean, that's a heck of a commitment to the story that you're working on. So congrats on the 45,000 words that you've been able to put together. And so you sounds like you're well on track. Not sure how long you anticipate your novel is going to be. As I mentioned earlier with mine, I'm looking at probably, I think I'm knocking on the door. I think I'm right at about 70,000 words right now, pretty close to that. I think maybe just a few hundred words under that. So I'm looking to get past 70,000 words. And last week when I did these lives, I said it was going to take me probably 70 to 75,000 words to be able to wrap this story up, at least the first draft of it. So I'm thinking that probably is going to happen this weekend, maybe even yet today. So I'm going to hope to get in probably about today, at least about 1,500 to 2,000 words today. And that should put me pretty close, if not past the finish line there. So yeah, that's something that's pretty cool, pretty exciting. All right, let me go ahead and get the clock set up here. Like I should have done this beforehand, but I was having technical difficulties, as I mentioned earlier. So that made things a little bit tougher there for me. So, all right, let me go ahead and set. So those of you who have been here before, you know how we do it. We do it with 15-minute writing sprints. And let me go ahead and get this set up here, super full screen, and add to the screen here. So we've got our favorite clock here with the I don't know if it's my favorite clock, but it's the one that seems to pop up when I go to this site. So I use online-stopwatch.com for the clock timer thing, whatever you want to call it. And we typically do 15-minute sprints. I usually do at least 3 15-minute sprints. And if everybody's engaged and we're having a good time, then we'll just keep the party going. So got my drinks here, my beverages here, non-alcoholic. This is my unsweetened iced tea. It's my go-to beverage here because I try not to drink any sugar-filled beverages. I try to avoid. So with that said, I am going to, first of all, count up where I'm at word count wise here. So you guys know where I'm starting from. Let me do it this way here. So, oh, look at that. Okay, so I am at all right. So, oh boy, that would be 689,000 words. That would make even Stephen King blush. So I am at 69,854 words. Oh, let me correct that. Switched a couple of numbers there. Check that, 69,584 words. So that's where I'm at. 69,584 words is where I'm at right now. And I am going to go ahead and get the timer started. So again, do 15-minute sprints. I'm going to turn down, mute the mic, and I'll try to engage with you guys if I'm, when I typically get stuck a little bit and need a breath of fresh air or need to just clear the head, I'll look up and see if anybody's got a question or a comment, and I'll try to respond to that. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to go ahead and get this writing sprint started. Hang on. All right. So we're going to go to 11 a.m. We're going to go right to the top of the hour. So 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here, or wherever the time is where you are. We're going to go for about 15 minutes. So ready, set, and go. All right. So the first little mini writing sprint is in the books. Let me go ahead and check and see where I'm at right now with my writing. So, of course, I was messing around with stuff in the background, trying to chat with some people and trying to also promote it, get a few more people to come through. So, probably didn't get as much writing in as I had hoped for. So let's see where we got here. And I ended up with, all right, so 381 words during the first 15-minute writing sprint. So 381 words in on that first 15-minute writing sprint. So that was a lot of fun. I was just trying to promote the live here a little bit to hopefully get a few more people to come through, and so it ended up with 381 words, which is good because I'm estimating right now it's going to take me probably about another 1,200 to 1,500 words to bring this into the finish line. So that's how close I am to the finish line right there. And I was at 69,584 words. So didn't quite, not quite there at that 70,000 word mark. So that is probably going to happen here during the next sprint. I'm almost sure that's going to happen during the next sprint unless something ridiculous happens and stunts my progress here. So Lily Flynn got it in 316 words. I had to wake up my brothers in the middle of it, which takes ages. So good for you. So you were pulling double duty. So actually maybe more than that, depending on how many brothers. You were definitely multitasking right there, which was good. So I think there was a delivery out at my house. So I don't know. I was tempted to get up and look at it, but nobody rang the doorbell. So I'm like, whatever. Hopefully there's no porch pirates that come by and take my delivery. So I may get up and check and see what's out there during this next 15-minute writing sprint. So, but before I get into the next 15-minute writing sprint, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the current books that I'm actually reading. So you will learn a little bit more about that. So the first one I'm reading is a book of the month pick right here. It's called Pretty Little Wife. And it's got there's more than one way to end a marriage. And so this has actually been a pretty cool read for me. It's actually a carryover from the month of November. And actually, now that I think about it, that could be my book of the month box out there. So if it is, I don't know, I might show you a little bit about that. But this has been really cool because you kind of are sort of behind the scenes of a mystery from the start, and you kind of see it from an interesting perspective as he's kind of like a cat and mouse game between the wife of the missing man and the detectives that are trying to figure out what actually happened. So it's actually been really an interesting story. It's just different than what I normally read. So let me see what page I'm on right now. I'm at 164. Page 164. It looks like it's just a little under 400 pages. So probably about 40% of the way through this particular book. But it's actually been a pretty interesting book. So that's the nonfiction book that I'm reading right now. Or the fiction book I'm reading right now. The nonfiction book I'm reading right now is called The Heritage: Black Athletes, A Divided America, and the Politics of Patriotism by Howard Bryant. And actually, Howard Bryant is a author that I've read before, a nonfiction author that I've read before. I read a biography of Hank Aaron, who was one of the great home run hitters of all time, and a great important figure in terms of civil rights as well, and continued for many, many years, and probably still does in some degree, continues to be an important part of Major League Baseball. So that was a really interesting read. I was very interested in that story about Hank Aaron, Henry Aaron. And this one sounded really interesting. I kind of stumbled across this on Amazon, and I decided to pick it up because the topic sounded interesting and because I'm a fan of Howard Bryant's writing. So this is my nonfiction book that I actually haven't quite started yet, but I'm going to probably end up starting it at some point today. So those are the two of the books that I'm reading right now, trying to get those in. And hopefully you guys are doing a lot of reading too. One of the things that really helps me with writing is continuing to read and to get a feel for other authors and how they do things, and helping that or using that to help shape my own writing. So that's something that's always been kind of a fun thing for me. Which one sounded interesting to you? Was it the fiction book, the Darby Kane book? That one is actually really interesting. It's just a very different perspective, and I was actually glad I picked that one up. And I've read some books like that before, and this perspective on it seemed kind of interesting. So I was when I woke up this morning and checked my phone, I was looking at the Book of the Month group that I'm involved in on Facebook, and they happened to be chatting about that particular book. And so there was some mixed comments. I think most people liked the book, and some people had some criticisms of it. But that's with any book. There's going to be some positives and there's going to be some negatives. There are going to be some people that think really highly of it and some people that don't think that much of it. So it just, to each their own. Everybody's got different tastes and different opinions. And so, but I find it kind of interesting, to be honest with you. And it really got off to a strong start, which is something that I definitely like in a book. So, yeah. Okay. So that is kind of where I thought you were going. Yeah, it is. It is a really interesting one. The nonfiction, it's interesting. I had the approach that you had too, that I need to read more nonfiction. I read nonfiction a lot faster. I don't know if that's something that's true for a lot of people, but it is definitely true for me that I end up reading nonfiction a lot faster. I'm a notoriously slow reader. I multitask. I'm doing a lot of different things. And so sometimes reading just requires a lot of quiet time, that there's just so many demands on my quiet free time. So I end up sometimes doing a lot of writing, sometimes doing some reading. What I'm trying to get away from is just like mindless scrolling through Facebook and through Twitter, where it just feels like you're just going forever and ever and ever and ever. And then if you go for a few more minutes, you'll go to the first tweet that ever happened if you keep going. So that's the one thing I try to, limit myself from, because that's valuable reading time. And it's being sometimes squandered using it just kind of mindlessly, on social media. So social media, like a lot of other things, is a valuable tool, but you have to certainly manage it and be effective with it, and use it to your advantage instead of letting it use you and eat up too much of your time. So use social media wisely. All right, so let's set up the second writing sprint here. We're going to go 15 minutes. And this one's going to take us to about 25 after. So it's going to take us to about 11:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know where you guys are who are watching, but I'm in the Eastern time zone. So let's see. Let me get that going right there. So we're going to go 15 minutes. Let me go ahead and get that thing back up there. Get that clock back up there. Let's see here before I hit the button here. I completely agree with you. I've been trying to recognize when I've spent too much time on my phone. And the phone is that can be one of the worst, because I keep my phone nearby. And when I wake up in the morning, I grab the phone, usually off the charger, and I start looking at it. And, it's like it's like habit forming. You check like your Facebook, and then you check your Twitter, or you check your Instagram, or maybe you go in a different order. Maybe you check your Snapchat, TikTok, or whatever. And you start doing it. And then the next thing you know, you've wasted like half an hour and you haven't really learned anything of significant value, usually, that is worthy of the time that you've invested in it. So it's just a matter of managing it and not letting it manage you. So we can all learn from that. But that phone, it'll it'll get as you. Okay, so you're in the Eastern time zone as well. All right, so we're gonna go 15 minutes right now. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the start time, and hopefully, Lily, hopefully your brothers will be cooperative and you'll get a chance to get some writing in. All right, here we go. All right. And that sprint is in the books. And look, I like hearing that bell for some reason. I don't know. It's kind of weird. You probably don't feel the same way out there, but let's see. All right, let's tally up here. I don't know if I matched. Ooh, didn't quite match. All right, close. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's go ahead and tally it up. 360 words during that 15-minute writing sprint. You know, one of the interesting things as you come down the stretch of writing a story is that you kind of, when you first start out, you've got like all these lanes that you can drive in. And you can switch lanes. You can change back. You should be signaling. Some of y'all don't signal when you change lanes, but you have so many lanes that you can travel when you first start a story. And you're in Act 1 of the story, and you're in Act 2. Maybe you have a few. Maybe you have a few less lanes as you get into Act 2. Then you get into Act 3, and then maybe you have a few less lanes, and you maybe are on like a 2-lane that you're driving. And then as you get toward the end of the story, it's like you can't deviate too much because you're so locked in to where you're going, and then you have to like focus in on an ending, and you have to like, you know, agree that this is the direction you're going to go, and you can't keep swerving all over the place. So it's interesting getting toward the end, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now at the end. Knocking on the door here. 383 words for Lily Flynn. So nice job there. And sounds like you're probably able to get in a little bit more writing distraction free, or maybe with less distraction. So nice work right there. You know, I'm with the nature of the work that I do, I end up being kind of a faster typist, and then you combine that with knowing the direction that you're going, then that makes it a little bit easier to just be able to just crank it out and keep a pretty good pace, keep a pretty steady pace for your writing. And so, so right now, the stage that I'm at in the story is there's a kidnapping situation that has happened in this story, and the FBI has sent in a team, and the team is trying to figure out who is the mastermind behind this. And so I've sprinkled some clues around over the course of the story, and yet I've also sprinkled in some red herrings to try to misdirect you, to try to swerve you into the wrong lane so you take the wrong exit. But hopefully stay interested enough that you'll get back on the highway and try to find the right exit. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is the FBI is coming in, and then they're setting up their command center. They're working with local law enforcement because they've been called in to assist with this kidnapping case that has wide-ranging implications, because it's more than just a kidnapping case, but the kidnapping for the criminal element in this story is a means to an end. It's what they're doing to try to help them achieve their goal. So that's their for them, it's their roadmap to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so to speak, the proverbial pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So they're using this kidnapping, and now it's incumbent upon the FBI to assist local law enforcement in unraveling the mystery. And so it's been kind of interesting. You know, as you read a lot more, and you watch certain types of television shows and procedural shows, and then you do your research online, and you try to figure out how you can tell your story, but also make it realistic. And you're writing fiction, of course, but you want it to be reality based, so people don't think that you're crazy and you're just making stuff up that doesn't make any sense. So that's part of the challenge there. So You're so kind. It's actually been really cool. It's the two main characters are sisters, and I'll tell you that they find out at the very beginning of the story that they are sisters because they didn't know that until they end up at a funeral. And so crazy things can happen sometimes at funerals, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective. And so their mothers reveal this to them that they have, in fact, the same father. And so the mothers are trying to reconcile this while the sisters are like, whoa, what? We're sisters now? And they are actually both in high school and they're athletes and they're actually competitors to a lesser extent, they're competitors. And so it's just a weird dynamic all the way around. And so they're trying to get to know each other. They're trying to decide whether they like each other, whether they want to think of themselves as sisters. And one sister had privilege and the other sister did not have privilege. And so they're trying to unravel this mystery that has brought them together while trying to decide again whether or not they like each other or not. And so the mothers are kind of going through the same thing too. And so, and then there's some other added elements in the story that make it pretty interesting. And you know, when I first developed the outline to it, I was kind of, this could be kind of interesting. I'm going to go and run with it and see where it takes me. And then as I worked my way through it, and I had a pretty extensive outline that I put together for this story. And as I worked my way through the outline, you know, of course, elements always change and you decide you want to go in different directions as the characters start growing and developing and you start putting them through situations that are positive situations and sometimes they're negative situations. And then the characters, you know, sometimes develop in a way that's maybe different than what you anticipate. And sometimes you create a secondary character that ends up being a really important part of the story. And so those are all things that kind of maybe take you down those different paths that I talked about when you're early in the story. And you have like 4 lanes that you can drive in. And then as you get deeper in the story, you move down to maybe 3 lanes, then you move down to 2 lanes, and then you're on like a 1-lane gravel road that leads only to one particular place. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is I'm on that 1-lane road that comes to an end. And that's where I'm trying to make sure that everything is falling into place and everything is on point with what we're doing. So let's go for a total story word count here just to see where we're at. Now, I will tell you, this is going to sound a little bit weird, but I deleted a big chunk. I had this this chapter that I started, and it had about probably 300 words in it. So I decided that I was not going to go in that direction anymore. So I deleted about 300 words. So I probably only netted about 60 words. So I'm probably still just knocking on the door of that 70,000 here. So I was kind of treading water during that 15-minute sprint here. Oh, actually, I did. I'm officially over 70,000. So I did get in enough words, even deleting that. I must not have counted that in my last word count. So right now I'm at all right. So I'm at 70,190 words right now for this novel. Again, this is the one that I started during NaNoWriMo. So it's rolling right now. It's in a pretty good spot. I think it's going to take me probably another 2 to maybe 5,000 words. It might take me 5,000 words to really up to 5,000 words. I don't think it'll take me more than that. I'm that close to the end that I'm just a couple thousand words away from finishing the first draft. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm very optimistic that the first draft will be done today. So I don't know if it'll be. I'm sure I'll do some writing as I sit down and watch some college football here in a little bit, which is one of the things that I really like to do on Saturday. So I'm going to look forward to watching a little college football. I'm sure I'll have the laptop out and I'll be doing some writing during that. And we'll see where I'm at when I come back at 6:30. So if you could, everybody that's out there, come through at 6:30. So 6:30 p.m. will be the second writing live stream. So if people want to come through at 6:30 tonight, I'll have a lot of college football in me, and I'll probably be looking for a break to get back on here and do some writing. So we'll see how that goes. And then 10:30 a.m. Sunday morning will be the third live stream writing sprints. So you guys can come through tomorrow morning, this same time tomorrow morning, Sunday morning. So I will, be looking forward to that. Waking up and having a little breakfast and then jumping into some writing. Now, here's the thing. If I get done with this novel that I am working on right now, which again, I could be done before tonight's writing sprint, but almost certainly will be done before tomorrow's writing sprint. What I will be doing tomorrow is one of two things, and I'll have to make that decision. I'll either finish up the story that I was working on before NaNoWriMo, which I probably should do, or I will work on the outline for this book series that I am starting. I've never really written a true book series, but I have started the outline of a book series that is, I think it's a 5-book series, and it's a cross between the Hunger Games and the Manchurian Candidate. And so I'm excited about it. It's kind of dystopian in nature, of course. And I think a lot of people will see what I'm talking about. So just if you've seen the Hunger Games movie series or you read the books, hopefully you've done both. I did both. And if you've seen, I would say the remake of the Manchurian Candidate, the one with Denzel Washington, if you've seen that one, that's the one I've seen. I know there's an older one that I have not seen, but picture those two stories kind of blended together. And that's kind of what this series that I have is all about. So I've got a rough outline of all 5 books of the series, but I need to do some character sketching. And so that could be a fun thing to do, either starting tonight or certainly tomorrow morning for that writing sprint. So I'm going to be excited to really jump into that outline, because just doing a series, that's the trend now. Everybody's doing a series. So I'm going to see if I can get my series game on. And this is something that's just different than what I normally would write. A lot of my stories just don't necessarily go in that direction. So I'm trying to branch out a little bit, do something a little bit different. And I think this is going to be that kind of a story, that kind of a series of stories. So, all right, that's it for that. Let me go ahead and I'm going to get in one more writing sprint here. So let me add this to the stream. There's the clock. Clock is all set. We're going to go 15-minute writing sprint. That'll take us to just before noon. And those college football kickoffs, for those of you out there who are college football fans, they typically start kicking off at about noon. So that's something I'm going to be looking forward to. Let's see what's up with Lily Flynn. I've seen both of those right now. Wow. I am even more excited to read your writing. Thank you very much. Series are really good. I'm just for some reason, in all the years that I've been writing, I've never really done a series. So, and I don't know why. It's just a situation that it's just the way it's always been. And as I've seen more and more people doing series, I'm like, you know what? I got to come up with one. And then this one kind of came to me, and I thought, you know what? This is just too good to pass up. So. Who knows? I could be the next Suzanne Collins. So who knows? But this is one I'm really excited about. I also am still shopping my novel that I completed to publishers and agents. So that's a progress that's ongoing. So trying to see if I can get somebody to bite on that one. It's a really timely story that has has to do with a racial incident that takes place, and it reveals a larger plot by a larger entity that nobody could really imagine. And as the tensions increase, there's like this almost like a resistance force that has to come together and to convince people that yes, this is really happening and that we have to do something about it. And as they run into cold shoulders from people that just are dismissing them, they have to really kind of summon their own strength and slowly build this coalition of people that want to save the situation before it gets too far out of hand. So I know that's pretty vague, but it's a really cool story. I had a fun time writing it. That was probably the most words I've ever written in a month. I think I wrote 90,000 words in just maybe a little over a month. So I was grinding on writing that story. So anyway, I'll probably talk a little bit more about that at some other point. But let's get to this writing sprint right now. So we're going to go 15 minutes, and that's going to take us to about 3 minutes before the hour. So let's start. Sorry about that. I actually cut myself off, hit the mute button a little bit too soon, but we're sprinting right now. And that is our final writing sprint of this morning. But let me tally up here to see where I am at. That was a good, that was probably my best sprint of the morning here, and it was. So let's see what we got here. Let me go ahead and post this. 428 words during that 15-minute writing sprint. So I did a good job getting it in. I had a nice, I was given a little bit of background on one of the characters here to kind of set the stage for the authority that this character is going to exercise, to give you a little bit of background of where this character was coming from to get to this particular point. So that was kind of an easy part. That was some easy writing there because I had a pretty good idea where I was going with it. So I didn't think it was going to be much of a problem to get there from here. So it was pretty easy writing there for me to get that in. So I'm pretty good right now with what I was able to get in. I'm just kind of trying to add it up in my head. I probably got in close to 1,200 words during this. Let's see, we're at almost an hour and a half. So got about 1,200 words in, while of course managing the stream, and then had to pick up and do a couple things around the house kind of unexpectedly. And, all things considered, it was pretty good. So close to 1,200 words. I'm up over 70,000 words for this story. And so I'm thinking more than likely I'll probably be done with this probably before my 6:30 p.m. writing sprint. So if that is the case, I'll still be going through with the writing sprint. But what I'll be doing is I'll be doing more character sketching, and I'll be working on the outline for the book series that I'm going to be working on. So those are things that I'll be working on. And as I do that, I'll probably be finishing up the work that I had in progress before NaNoWriMo, which was probably about 80+% done. I would say probably like 85% done. So kind of not quite where I'm at with this particular story, but pretty close to pulling that one into the finish line here. So let's see what we got here. Lily got in 400 words, so way to work. Lily, you had a really good session here as well, too, over the last about 90 minutes. So good work there. Just a lot to get done, and I'm feeling really good about this. And so, like I said, I think I'm going to probably end up being done before the writing sprint this evening. So if that is the case, and I have some time before the writing sprint starts, I'll definitely get the pieces in place to make sure I can begin doing the outline. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's fun to get on here, and hopefully I'll be able to continue to grow the audience. Last week I had a lot of people that came through, and so that was pretty fun. But it's just great to have opportunities to just chat with people and to do some writing, and just two things that I enjoy doing. So it was a lot of fun, and just trying to get all the equipment together here and try to get everything working. I had some technical difficulties before I went live with the stream, so that kind of set me back, and I had to kind of pivot and do things a little bit differently here. So the mixing board wasn't cooperating with me for some reason, so I'm still learning how to use that. Okay, so that's going to do it. I'm going to wrap it up and go ahead and relax, sit on the couch a little bit, then eventually do some cleaning around the house. Got some projects I got to do. I'm going to get in some college football because college football is actually the day of college football is probably kicking off right now, since we're past the noon hour here on the Eastern time zone. So that's going to do it. Thanks everybody who came through. If you could hit the like button on your way out. And remember that I'll be back tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, I will be back with another writing sprint. And also, just pop that up right there. So tonight I'll be back again, 6:30 p.m. tonight Eastern time for another writing sprint. And depending on the progress I make between now and then, that could determine what project I'm working on. So I could be starting fresh at that writing sprint tonight. And then, of course, tomorrow morning, I will be back. Sunday morning, I will be back with a 10:30 a.m. writing sprint. So almost undoubtedly tomorrow morning, I will definitely be working on the outline for this big project that I have coming up. So exciting times coming up, and really looking forward to it. And Lily, I'm glad you're going to be coming back. If you got some friends or enemies that want to come through and writing sprint with us or chat with us, then go ahead and invite them. I'm going to go ahead and invite some people too to promote it, and hopefully we'll get a few more people in here and we'll get some good chat going about reading, about writing, about all kinds of stuff. So that's the plan for later today. So thanks everybody for coming through, and hopefully everybody has a good early afternoon and mid-afternoon, and then if you have time, come on back through for tonight at 6:30, and then of course tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. So thanks everybody. Peace.